Global business today isn't just about numbers, contracts, or strategy decks. It's about people and the unspoken rules that guide how they interact. Culture, as Edward T. Hall described in his classic The Silent Language, is not just visible tradition. It's an invisible system that dictates how teams communicate, how trust is built, and how deals succeed or fail. Culture equals communication. For leaders, culture is more than background noise. It's the code beneath every conversation. What feels like a simple exchange may, in fact, carry layers of meaning. A misplaced joke, a too direct comment, or silence after a proposal can mean very different things depending on cultural context. Miss those signals, and you risk eroding credibility before the real work even starts. When the intergenerational chain breaks. Language carries memory, values, and identity across generations. In international organizations, when teams lose sight of how these cultural layers influence communication, misalignment happens fast. A phrase intended as efficient can come across as abrupt. A nod intended as respect may be read as lack of confidence. The disruption is rarely about intent, it's about interpretation. Time and space are not universal. Hall's research highlights two blind spots leaders often overlook: time and space. In monochronic cultures, time is linear, deadlines and schedules are paramount. In polychronic cultures, time flexes around relationships and priorities. Similarly, the use of space, office layout, personal distance in meetings, even the silence between sentences, varies widely. A leader who reads these signals well can build trust quickly. One who ignores them risks tension that never makes it into the meeting minutes but quietly derails progress. A leader's checklist for awareness. Before stepping into cross-cultural negotiations or leading global teams, ask: how is personal space defined here? Is this a high-context culture, where much is implied, or low-context, where clarity is expected? How are hierarchy and disagreement expressed? Does the medium, Zoom, email, in person, alter expectations? Where confusion becomes costly? Confusion often shows in the small things: tone, stress, pitch, and not to be neglected are the limits of your own sound set, accent. In some languages, a change in pitch transforms meaning entirely. In English, stress alone changes emphasis. We need to deliver next week is very different from we need to deliver next week. Leaders who fail to notice these shifts may find projects drifting off course, not because of lack of skill, but because of silent misalignment. The hidden codes you can't afford to miss. Hall argued that every culture has hidden codes, patterns so ingrained they're rarely articulated. These patterns shape what people consider respectful, urgent, or negotiable. Ignoring them is like ignoring local law. You may not see the fine print, but the penalties are real. The competitive edge. The risk of falling behind isn't theoretical. Miscommunication can stall deals, fracture trust, or cost millions in lost opportunities. Leaders who invest in cultural agility, who can read the silent language, gain an advantage. They move faster, negotiate smarter, and lead teams that collaborate instead of clash. Further reading. Edward T. Hall's The Silent Language remains essential reading for any leader working across borders. More than 60 years on, his insights remind us, culture always speaks, even when no one is talking.